Hey guys, and welcome back to Raymore Repair. Today we're back on the XR250. I think this is a 95 model or so, but there she is in all her glory. Gas tank looks a little funky, and she's been through the ringer a time or two, but we're slowly saving this thing. We went through the engine on it, checked the XR250R playlist for that. We went through the forks on it. Now we're going to do the steering stem bearings, possibly some other stuff depending on how much time we have. But the steering stem bearings, they be a little notchy. So we're going to take care of that next. Here we go. All right, you guys have seen me take the front wheel off this before, so I'm just going to zippy zap through this. I think our axle might be a bit bent. Yep, think so. And we'll just whip this out of here. All right, all we got to do is loosen up some clumps. Whoa. All right, we'll turn this some more and then we're going to attempt just to slide this fork out of here. Slide that baby off there. And we'll slide this on out. There we go. Now we'll slip this baby on out. Here we go. One fender delete. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this loose and we're just going to lay it to the side. We're not going to take all the stuff off the handlebars. We're just going to take it loose and lay it over. We'll get these that are easier to get to. And then these won't be so tight maybe, if it's put on right. And it looks like it was okay. One clamp out's the way. These are not left and right, they're just clamps. There is a back and forth to them though, but not left and right. There's a dot right at the edge of that bolt. That dot goes forward on Hondas. Gonna roll our handlebars over forward. Let it dangle by all the stuff you shouldn't let it dangle by. And we'll take these two out. That one's a switch tighter right there. I'll just go ahead and finger him out by hand. We're just gonna let that lay there too. Got a big nut here. I don't know what size it is, but it's certainly big. Ay, caramba! I got a 2-foot long breaker bar on that. She is tight. Nut and washer. This is a triple clamp. Not to be confused with the triple tree. Then we have our nut. This one shouldn't be very tight, and it's not. You just come off there kind of like so. There's 3 different sizes of threads on here. Well, I don't know if that's really threads, but it's 3 different sizes. Then we're down to our bearings. There's a top bearing. She looks pretty dry and crusty. I'd say we're certainly on the right track here. This is the edge of our triple clamp, and we need to take these 2 bolts out so we can get this brake hose out of the way, because the brake hose is supporting everything down through there. And we don't want to do that. We want this piece to be completely separate. See how much easier it comes out with that off there? And we'll just let that clamp. It's just going to slide down the brake hose, and that's okay. This is our triple tree. And this bearing is, well, it's about not quite as dry as a popcorn fart, but pretty close. That's what my dad used to say. This is our bottom bearing race, and we're going to knock it out. I'm going to give you guys that view while I whack on this thing. Just like that, she's out. All right, now you're looking at the top one, and we're going to drive it out the same way. There, that's better. And that's the top race out of the way. Now this is our bottom race. Now bottom race usually takes the biggest beating. And I can feel with my thumbnail every place there's been a ball in this. Let me clean it up just a touch and I'll show you what I mean. Don't know how well the camera is going to work on this, but inside this race, right here, there's some marks in it. And I can feel those with my fingernail. And you can see there's one of those about every spacing of the rollers. Well, that makes, even those little divots make it so it turns. Well, it doesn't want to go straight, is what it feels like. Like bike always wants to turn. You can't make it go straight very easily. That's one of the signs of a problem with the ring. Now this is the top race, and you can see we have a bunch of rust in here, and you can see boop, 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 boop. Those are the spacings of the bearing. This uses a tapered roller bearing. Let me see if I can find the bearing. Here it is. This is the tapered roller bearing out of the top. He sits in his race like this, and the race sits in the frame like that. And you can feel, you're not going to be able to see it on camera. You're just going to have to trust me just a tiny bit with this. But you can feel the roughness in that bearing. And the reason being is all that. That should be perfectly smooth, and it certainly is not. This is our triple tree. A fork goes here, a fork goes here. This goes through the middle of the steering stem, and this is the lower bearing. We got to get this lower bearing off here. And sometimes they're a real son of a gun to get off there. Some people press this out of the body, and they do it that way. Well, I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I don't typically do this, but I am this time. I am going to cut the race or the carrier and the pins off this thing, and then I'm going to heat this up until this wants to slide off. And that'll make it incredibly easier to get this sweetheart off. Now we're going to get after this with a Dremel tool. So this may go quick, it may go slow, and this thing's kind of a POS because I bought the cheapest one I could find, and that's my fault. It's not its fault. I gotta tell you, that really didn't go that bad. There's the little rollers in there. There we go. And this is what you got in there. Now I'd like to get this seal out of the way because it's going to stink to high heaven when we start heating this up. But it sits underneath there. So really, you know, it's going to do what it's going to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to tap this like this. Oh gosh, we don't need to heat it, just coming off. That's pretty peachy. It's moving right now. We'll come underneath, give it a tap or two. That thing is in our way. Maybe we just come to the side. Give it a little different angle. Maybe this side? Who knows? They might like it. It's about to go. I really need to tap on it down here. But we'll see if we can slide it off there regardless. Now we're just destroying it. It's already destroyed. Boy, look at the tracks on that inner race. Whew. There we go. There it is. Yeah, that's better. Clean shaft's a happy shaft. All right, I've got my old race on here, my new bearing. My old race, but we don't want to quite do this yet. We need to pack this bearing. Now you guys know how much I like using factory stuff. This time, we are not. We're using, what is this, an all-ball skit? No, this is a Factory Links OEM series, OEM quality replacement parts for your motorbike. The way it says motorbike, I'm thinking maybe this was not designed for US, but sold here anyway. And this is our correct kit as far as the directions say. Now, is it? I don't know. Oh, cool. We got a sticker. Got a couple of different seals here. 28R013. Look to be the same thing. What's this side say about it? 28R013. Looks like we got the same top and bottom. Well, you know, that's something. Okay, you may be asking, how do we pack bearings? Well, funny you should ask. I'm getting ready to show you how I pack bearings. And for the astute amongst you may notice I put on gloves. And I pack these exactly like my dad packed bearings. And I bought things to do this different tools and stuff. I never had much luck with them. What I do is I put some grease in the palm of my hand. My dad would never use gloves though, so don't think that's the case. Not this kind of glove. All right, and then we just run this like this. And we can see the grease coming up between the rollers. And that's what we're doing. We're just pressing that grease up between them. See how it's popping up through there? That is a well-packed bearing. And that way, you've got the entire inside of your bearing lubed. Now you may be asking yourself, my goodness, what kind of grease is he using here? That looks like really wonderful grease. Well, I'll tell you, it's the Mystic High Temp Multi-Purpose Grease in 2 languages. And it's a 1 pound can. It's the NLGI GCLB, whatever that means, some kind of specific rating. But I'm using this because it was the cheapest thing I found. It was on sale at, I believe it's Tractor Supply. We got our seal on there. We'll grab our bearing of choice, which is this one, the less greasy one of the 2 on purpose. We'll slide that sweetheart down there, and then we'll take this one and put the small end down, because this one has the small end up. We'll slide it down there. Then we can just do the tap, tap, tappy around this thing and drive it on there. Let me turn a little bit so you got a better view of what's happening. I know for some of you, it'd be hard to fathom that I'm actually tapping this if you didn't see it on camera. Now, at work, I have a tube that slides down over here, so you go whack, 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 whack on the top of it, and it drives it right down. Here, I just don't think I got anything like that. So we're just going to keep on going like this. I think we're gaining on it. Now I keep my hammer close to this so I don't dink it up down here. There we go, we're getting there. A couple more. See that change tones? That means we're bottomed out. Now all we got to do is drive this race back off there, and voila, we're in good shape. So we'll mount this like we did before, and this is going to be incredibly easier getting it off because we got that slit cut in there. Boom. Oh boy. That's how it ought to go every time. There it is. Now I'm going to take my dirty hand, my left hand, because it still has a glove on it, and apply a light coat of grease all the way around this bearing. And we'll make sure I get some on that seal edge right down through there too. Okay, once again, we're going to do the same thing. On these seals, you want to make sure that the thin edge is out and the wide edge is in. Otherwise, it's just not going to work at all. Think about it a minute. You'll get it. Then we're going to just tappy tap tap. Figure out where we're high, where we're here. Yes, they make drivers for this too. Once again, I don't have any here. And I'm going to put this in with that down, so if I have to drive this back out, I can get to the edge of it. See if I can do this and not hit my digits. Damn, I just got my thumb right on the edge. Ooh, boy. That's going to be a blood blister for sure. Nope, no, it's just it's just bleeding. No blood blister. I think we'll find something a little different, or maybe just be more careful doing this. It's a bit awkward. Would it be better this way? By gosh, it is. It'd be harder to drive it back out, but we're not really getting caught yet. Hear that? How it changed tones? It's much louder, even though I'm hitting it the same. That means that's bottomed out in there. And looky there, we didn't even damage it. That's kind of a bonus. This is our new one. We're just going to give it a tap in there. Oops. You can see I'm really not worth a darn upside down with a hammer. Good thing I'm not a carpenter. And believe me, I'm not a carpenter. You know what they say, they can't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. And I am handy with stuff. Whoa! I think we're bottomed out on this one too. Yep, sounds bottomed out. Let me get around here. A little gunshot now that I bit my thumb on the top. Those are in. That's right. That's a good thing. I'm still using the same camera I started doing YouTube with. That's been 3 years ago. So still works for me. All right, we need to put our top bearing in and our seal. I'm going to use the original seal because it's different. I'll show you. So that away before I get it greasy everywhere. Here is the difference. This seal has an extra layer around here and it has one in here. This one does not. It just has the one. I like this better. So I'm going to reuse this. I'm not silly enough to think that everything's going to stay out of there no matter which seal I use, because it's not. The seal helps, but it is not the end all to be all with the wherewithal to keep everything out. We will give this thing a little bit of a cleaning though. Because shucks, probably deserves it at this point. Oh, I do have some exciting news though. Tomorrow, I am starting a new job. I worked for Suzuki Motor Company for almost 10 years. Within, I don't know, 15, 20 days of being 10 years. And I decided to leave the company, and I'll tell you, Suzuki is a great company to work for. Absolutely great. But I decided I need to do something different. So I am doing something different. Strange as that sounds, it's the way it is. This is the case where we need to flip our handlebars back again. Set them on the seat there. See if we can get them not to fall off for a change. Now we need to set the preset on this. And we don't need an absolute ton of preset on this. Right there, she's bottomed. And I can tell you, I want them just a twidge tighter. You can see how the nut seat's backing off. I want it just a touch tighter than that, but boy, not much. So we'll give that a tap. Because once again, we don't have the spanner we need. Not here anyway. I like that pretty good. I say that as I tap it just a touch tighter. No, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna quit right there. It's got a nice drag to it. I don't know how much. Probably 2 to 3 pounds of drag. But these are really easy to adjust. You can just loosen the top nut and reach under here and go tappy tap tap and tighten this up a little bit. Now then, we can bend that to where we need it to be and not worry about how it's fitting onto the triple clamp. Whew! That's going to sit on there kind of like that. Then we want to grab our nut and our washer. Washer first, nut last. That's the only way it makes any sense at all. I wonder which way that used to be. Like that. Dirty side down. We just want to snug that for now till we get our forks back in and get everything straightened up, and then we can tighten that up. It's pretty good. It's one less thing dangling in the way. I think I just want my cap sticking through and nothing else. In fact, I'm going to lower it just a touch. Because I'm an old fart that rides a dirt bike, so I don't need it to be all that in a bag of chips. And we want that one right about there as well. That was 3. There we go. Now we'll need to torque these because that's just the right thing to do. That'll do. Okay, that's tightened up. Let's tap this up into place so it's locked. Let's get her started with a pair of Nipexes. All right, that's fixed. Do you remember? The dots right there go forward. There's a reason for that, which we'll cover in just a moment. Make sure I don't screw up on camera and put them on the wrong way. There we go. I like that. Once I ride it, I'll probably have to adjust them anyway. Snug the top ones down. Leave your bottom ones loose. Pull that one around just enough. That's pretty good. Now your bottom ones here, these are cut different. These are shorter here than they are on the front. So these actually do the clamping back here. I'm going to turn these like that. And I'm going to tighten these up. Now I'm telling you, this is not the place to really be cranking on these things. You don't need them super duper tight. I would imagine the torque spec on these is probably 17, 18 foot-pounds at the most. All right, this calls for 24 foot-pounds on the top bolts and 20 on the bottom. If any of you are wondering, I bought this Quinn torque wrench, digital one, whenever they had them on super sale. And this is almost a good tool. Not quite, but almost. It beep, beep, beeps when you get close and goes to a solid tone and you get on it. Check our top one again, because they work in comparison with each other. I consider these to be vitally important to torque, to get the suspension to work right. These are really close. All right, go down to 20, right at 20. So we can get this thing to head in the right direction here. There's There's 20 on that one. Check our top one again. Sounds a little dry. Do our other side at 20. How tight you squeeze these has an effect on how stuff moves inside the fork. Now this bike is not vitally important because there's nothing that's moving inside the fork up here. It's all taking place down at the bottom. But it's just a good practice to be in to torque these to the correct spec. Now, you don't see me torque a lot of stuff, but this is one thing that I do torque. If you can't let off the trigger and let it hit a little softer than full throttle, this probably isn't a place for you to be using power tools. All right, all I gotta do is put the headlight back on. And you see me do that a couple of times, so we're not gonna get too excited about that. That's pretty good. Well, that just about does it for putting steering stem bearings in this XR250R. This is a 95 model, but the same process is good for all the other XR250Rs that I'm aware of. XR400s, XR650Ls, you just got more stuff in the way. XR600s will work about the same, and frankly, about any other brand of bike will work very similar to the same. As far as driving out the races and putting the new ones in, check for your preload on the bearings. I do not use a torque spec on those because I just go by how hard it is to turn whenever I tighten the bearings. Go lock, 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 and then see how much it takes to push it. And that's all you really need to do with that to set it up. Now, if it's too loose, you'll know it. If it's too tight, well, you'll know that too. If it's too tight, it won't go straight. If it's too loose, you'll feel the looseness in it. So I set mine up towards about 2 or 3 pounds of push off when I'm pushing it around, and that's where I like them. Now, little housekeeping here. This is the first video back from a long time, and this may be posted on a new channel called McGuire's Motorcycles. If that's the case, then the motorcycle content I do will be on McGuire's Motorcycles, and then the power equipment stuff I do will remain on Raymore Repair. So I'm going to see if I can post this video in both places, maybe edit it a little bit different so nobody misses it. But guys, I really appreciate everything that you guys do. You subscribe, comment. I don't care if it's a bad comment or a good comment. I learn a lot from the comments. And I learn a lot about people from the comments too. So with that said, thank you very much for watching, and God bless.